He was more than two brothers, but greed blinded one of them. The deception took away everything, and revenge leveled the calculation years later. But in the end, no one thought. Jabir trusted Raju, a close friend in his youth, and handed over his accumulated wealth to him. Raju promised to return the money soon, but instead of returning the money, he disappeared. As time went on, Jabir's heart hurt more and more, but he persevered. It stayed in his heart forever that one day the number would be equal. Years later, the luck was back. Hard work and honesty made Jabir successful, while the same Raju was ruined due to debt and deceit. Eventually, he was forced to sell his land and shops. Jabir himself went ahead as the buyer and bought everything. When Raju found out the truth after signing the papers, he was surprised and said, "What have you done with all this?" Jabir smiled and answered, "Time has returned to me what you did not return to me. Today the number is equal." There was nothing but shame and remorse on Raju's face, and Jabir was relieved. Honestly. A few months passed. Jabir had bought all of Raju's property and was now considered the most successful man in the area. Raju, on the other hand, had gone bald. The pride and arrogance of a time was missing from his face. He stared at his friends and relatives, all calling him a cheater. One day, Raju came to the door of Jabir's office hungry and thirsty. The gatekeepers tried to stop him, but Jabir shouted, "Let him come in. This is my old friend." As he sat on the chair, Raju said with tears in his eyes, "Jabir, I believe that I have wronged you. Greed has blinded me. We've lost everything today. If you want, humiliate me forever, but give me a chance to correct my mistake," Jabir said after a long silence. "I have punished you. I have put your pride in the dust. But now I don't want revenge. If you really want to change, work hard. I'll give you a little work. But remember, once trust is broken, it doesn't easily connect again." Raju's eyes filled with tears. He shook his head and said, "Thank you, Jabir. I will never miss a second chance." Jabir gave Raju a job in one of his small warehouses. It was the same place where Jabir used to work. Time had turned, and now Raju would spend the day there, drunk in sweat, carrying loads with ordinary laborers. In the early days, the workers used to taunt him, "That's the king. Who stole other people's money?" Raju would suffer in silence because he no longer had the pride to answer. Jabir, on the other hand, sees it from afar. He was checking if Raju was really changing or just forced by time. One day, Jabir asked Raju to sit alone. "If you do not work hard from the heart, it will all go out of hand one day. Greed makes a man blind, did you learn?" Raju nodded his head and said in a low voice, "Yes, Jabir. Now it is understood that wealth is not everything. I really lost you. Today I just want my confidence back." Jabir looked at his face. For the first time, he felt that maybe Raju was really... It's changing. A few months passed. Raju worked day and night, sweating with the workers. Gradually, others began to notice his changing behavior. The man who was once known for his pride and deceit had now become a purveyor of humility and silence. But fate put him to another test. One day, a large consignment of goods arrived at the godown, which Raju was entrusted to look after. The workers were, "Now let's see. It's really changed or the old nature comes back." Late at night, when everyone was gone, Raju looked at the boxes of goods in solitude. An old grudge rose up in my heart. For a moment he thought that if he sold the property, he could get rich again, and no one would catch him. But the next moment, Jabir remembered. Once trust is broken, it is not easily reconnected. Tears welled up in Raju's eyes. He touched the box, then stepped back and said to himself, "I'm not that guy anymore." When Jabir came in the morning, he saw that the entire shipment was safe. Raju was sleeping in a corner, tired, but there was peace on his face. For the first time, Jabir was convinced that this man was the chi has changed. A few days later, Jabir called Raju to his office. There were some papers on the table. Jabir said, "Raju, this is not the time to be limited to just labor. Now I want to. You are a great proof of your hard work. This is my new partnership project, and I want you to be a part of it." Raju's hands trembled. Tears welled in my eyes. He was surprised. "A part of it? How? How is it possible?" "I'm the one who brought you back." Jabir smiled. "Yes, you did. Time has taught you. I have tempted you, and you have chosen faithfulness instead of greed. That's the real win." Raju looked at the papers and said, "I sold friendship for wealth. Now wealth is in front of me. But I promise that this time I will take only trust, not wealth." Jabir put his hand on his shoulder. "That's what I wanted to hear. You're my partner today. But remember, it's a second chance, never a third." For the first time in years, a genuine smile came on Raju's face. He thought in his heart, this is not a story of change. Jabir and Raju's partnership began. Initially, the workers were surprised that the person who was called a cheater until yesterday, today, he is sitting at the table with the owner and making decisions. But Jabir said clearly in front of everyone, "This is my old friend. He made a mistake. But now he has the right to correct his mistake." Raju worked day and night. He looked into the accounts himself, listened to the problems of the workers, and took a clear view in every matter. Jabir watched silently. "I'm glad my friend has really changed. But fate has set a new test. There was a big deal in the business. There could have been a profit of lakhs of rupees, but the condition was that the papers would have to be changed." Jabir handed the file to Raju and said, "That's for you to decide. This opportunity will either take us too far, or it will disgrace us forever." Ray looked at the file. He stayed awake all night. An old desire came up in my heart again. This is the time. A signature and then a shower of wealth. But then he remembered his past. The moment when everyone had turned away, and he was left alone. In the morning, he gave the file back to Jabir and said in a strong tone, "I will remain poor, but I will never become rich by deception." Jabir smiled. "That's what I wanted to hear. Now I am convinced that Raju has really changed." After this decision, Jabir and Raju's business slowly began to flourish. The reputation of honesty drew customers to them. The people said, "This is the Jabir who always speaks the truth." And Raju. Amazingly, this too now works with a pure heart. Over time, both names became known throughout the city. Big companies started making deals with them. The workers are proud to say, "We work with owners who don't cheat." One day, Jabir and Raju were sitting in the office of their success. Jabir laughed. "I remember, Raju, when you took everything from me and I was empty-handed." Raju looked down and said, "It was the biggest mistake of my life. If you hadn't forgiven me, I wouldn't be here today." Jabir smiled. "It was easy to take revenge, but the real victory came when I gave you a second chance." There were tears in Raju's eyes. He thought in his heart, "I learned by losing money that true friendship is capital, and there is trust." The years passed. Jabir and Raju's friendship became an example. He was also successful in business and strong in relationships. People came from far away and said, "We only heard deception and revenge, but you both showed that forgiveness is the greatest weapon." One day, Jabir and Raju were walking down the street of the old neighborhood, the same place where once Raju had cheated and Jabir had lost everything with tears in his eyes. Jabir stopped and smiled. "This is the street. Where did it all end up?" Raju said with tears in his eyes. "No, it's the same. Where it all began again." Both hugged each other. The people standing around looked at the scene. Perhaps the real revenge is to defeat deception with forgiveness. Thus, the story of Jabir and Raju became a lesson. If a friendship is broken, forgive him. Can do it.